First of all, I want you to make this the last video you ever watch about depersonalization and derealization. When I first got this horrible thing, for so long, I was just always looking on the internet, searching Reddit forums about what I was experiencing, what I was going through, and how I could get better. But all that researching actually made things worse because my mind kept thinking about it. So, before the actual video starts, I want this to be the last video you ever watch about DPDR. It's going to contain all the things that you'll need to get better, to recover. And yes, you can get better and you can recover, because I've done it and you can do it too. I might say some things in this video that might come off as critical or that I'm being judgmental. I'm just trying to help you from my point of view about what works for me, and it should hopefully work for you too. I'm no better than you because I've recovered. I've done every single mistake in the book. Name it, I've probably done it. Well, not everything, but I am nowhere near perfect. I was able to recover. I know how fed up you are. I know how fed up I was, and I know how tiring and how draining it is to live with this thing day in, day out, how it feels like, what is even the point of being here? What's the point of doing anything? It's these horrible feelings, and I know that you're tired of it too. That's why I'm critical. That's why I'm going to give my honest point of view about how you can get better. So, first of all, you're real. I say that because when I am in the worst of it and I'm struggling really hard, I've really wanted people to tell me you're real, or for them to see me from a non-judgmental, not, oh, Reece is going crazy point of view. You're real. And I know everyone else has told you that. Of course, all the forums that we've read, and they've all told us we're real, but from one person to another, that's gone exactly what you've gone through. You're real. And I feel real now. I don't struggle. I don't feel myself in a dreamlike stance. I don't question why I'm here. Well, sometimes. But I don't see myself from a third person point of view because it's not fair. It's really not fair that we have to go through this. Because how come we have to go through this and our friends or our family can just think about boyfriends and girlfriends and what they're going to do with their future and politics? How come they can just be so okay, and meanwhile we have to question what the f*** are we doing here, and why isn't anyone else thinking about it? It's not fair. There's a sense of envy I get when I see when I saw other people just living so happily and carefree, and also I really wish I could do that because I do not feel that way right now. But I'm here to tell you that there is hope. And I also want to congratulate you and give you props for trying to get better, for wanting to get better, because it is so easy with any mental issue we have to just give up, to just lay in bed all day and to eat junk food and distract ourselves and hide from our thoughts. It's so easy. That's why if you've ever felt that sleeping was hard, it's because we might have been distracting ourselves all day. It takes a real person to even want to get better in the first place. So if no one's ever told you this, congratulations and props to you for wanting to get better. It might not seem like a lot after all the depression and the anxiety and the scary thoughts and the scary day-to-day lives we've lived, and to still be standing here and for you to be there wanting to get better or hopefully recovering just a little bit. Congratulations and props to you. So, how did I get better and how can you get better? We have to talk to people. Even when the first encounter you have with someone, your brain gives you this thought, are they just a line of code? Are they real? We have to talk to people. Therapy, specifically, would be great, and I really wish I got a therapist, but I got by without a therapist, and I recovered without a therapist, but only because I had two people very close to me and very dearly in my life that were able to sit down and listen to me non-judgmentally and give me the love and care I needed and the understanding I needed when I needed it. We can use this as an opportunity to open ourselves up, to form stronger connections, to get closer to people that we trust, rather than to distance ourselves from people because we feel weird. We can use this as a chance to grow. If you think therapy is right for you, I would 100% go that way, but we at least need someone in our life that we can talk to and that will sit there and understand and not make us feel crazy and help us understand that we are normal. We are normal, and we're just struggling, and we just need someone to talk to. There's nothing that's not okay about that. You probably know if you have DPDR by now, but if you're unsure, here's a list of the symptoms. And every symptom is completely valid, and even if you have one symptom and that's dragging you down, that's all that matters. If you have all of them, you probably have most of them, but it's not about that. Let me tell you some of the fun things I used to think about, because it's kind of funny in a way. If we can look at it with some kind of humor, this is a big part, by the way. If we can look at it with some kind of humor, it kind of diminishes the scariness we put onto our thoughts. So, what the fuck is that? Me and my girlfriend would be spooning. I'm the big spoon, of course, because, gotta assert dominance. And I'd have this intrusive thought of when she turns around, her eyeballs are going to be gouged out and she's going to look like this monster alien freak. I was laying there with my girlfriend. I'm supposed to be having a good time, and meanwhile my mind is just miles away, giving me anxiety, creating these fake scenarios of what if my girlfriend turns into an alien. And from there, one thought leads to another, and then I'm questioning, oh, is she real? I say this with a smile on my face now because it's crazy. It's silly. And is she real? Is she just a line of code? Am I in the Matrix? And on and on and on and on. And then I'm laying there meekly telling her that I think I should go home and I'm not feeling good anymore. And then I drop her off at her house and I'm going home. It's not fun. It's not fair. Why can't I enjoy things like I used to? Why is everything a struggle now? Why? And shit can get dark. I'd be at the gym doing pull-ups, and in between sets, in that 3-minute time where I just have to sit there and be with my thoughts, which is not easy at times, I'd be thinking about suicide. Not about committing suicide, but about death. And who am I, and what happens after we die, and all these existential thoughts that have been a plague to people like us for thousands of years, but it doesn't have to be a plague. And just like in the gym where I'm supposed to be in the zone, feeling a good pump, feeling good about myself, instead I'm thinking about suicide. All I know is that one day, and it will be soon, it'll be your chance to feel normal again, to get rid of this DPDR thing. But I also don't like thinking of DPDR as its thing of itself. It's a symptom. It's probably existential anxiety. I can't say that word right. Existential. Anxiety is not something that can be solved with logic. Anxiety gets trapped in our body. Stress gets trapped in our body, and we have to release it. We can't outthink derealization. We can't sit here and question about life for hours and then hope that we're going to find the answer and we'll be okay. We cannot use logic to try to fix our problem. Logic might be comforting. It might help us try to understand what we're going through, but it doesn't solve our problem, and often it would make it worse. I tried to push away and run away from those logical, trying to problem solve thoughts, and it never did anything for me. The problem is in our bodies that are just riddled with anxiety, then we need to release that. We've had a traumatic experience. Your experience was as valid as mine, but we've had a traumatic experience. In that event, our body was in fight or flight mode. In fight or flight mode, our sympathetic nervous system is activated, and our heart rate increases, and we sweat, and we'll breathe faster, and we'll feel more alert, and our body's trying to protect us from something. But what if that something isn't physical? What if I'm in the Everglades right now, so what if there's no bear or panther that I have to run from? What if the problem is in here? What happens then? That's just for me. My problem was in my head and I could not escape from it. When we can't run or fight the thing that's just crippling us with waves of anxiety and stress, our body gets stuck in fight or flight mode. Our body, even when everything's okay, like right now, when there's no threat and everything's good, and I do feel good right now, but my body is going to be telling my brain that something is wrong, or brain telling the body, I'm not sure which one, but it's going to be telling one or the other that something's wrong, that I need to be alert, I need to question things, I need to just be on my toes, ready to get at whatever's going to try to get me. Because the last thing our brain and our body wants when it's traumatized is to be in that state that it was when it got traumatized. My experience, anything that would lead me towards that, even thinking about it, I'd have nightmares about it. That's how serious it was for me. I would just be so scared. Just, oh, what if that happens again? What if I'm stuck there again? But fight or flight is not the enemy. It's just our body trying to protect us, you know? Thousands of years ago when we were, here, living here, there was crocodiles, panthers, you name it. Something was out there trying to kill us. So we needed to be vigilant on our toes when we needed to, though. Because if we were like this all the time, thank God we're not. Well, you know what I mean. So it's just trying to protect us. But the thing is, if it's a physical threat, we can do something about it. But again, when there's no physical threat, our body gets stuck in fight or flight mode. And then what happens? Our body dissociates us. We get disconnected from our surroundings, we get disconnected from our sense of selves, and we're just this kind of blob of existence. And it's a flawed system, and whatever made it, it's just slightly flawed. So that's how we got here. We're animals, man. We are just here biologically to survive and keep the human race going. Something along the line decided we needed fight or flight, and that's not the enemy. So all in all, DPDR is a symptom of anxiety. And we cannot look at DPDR or anxiety as an enemy. We actually kind of have to be grateful for it. Because if we see our anxiety as this horrible thing, like, I hate this part of myself. I used to hate it. I used to hate being that guy that was in his head, that couldn't be present, that was just always wanting to go home and sleep. I hated it, and I hated this part of me, and I hated myself for having this. So why not change our belief pattern? It's not a physical thing. There's no downside to it. There's no downside to being more positive. There's no worst case scenario. And it's either neutral or it's positive. So that's really something we should start. We should start seeing this as not this horrible thing that's happened to us, but as a chance to grow. And nothing bad ever came out of being positive. DPDR feeds on stress. When we're stressed out, it gets worse. When we have stressful, anxious thoughts, it gets worse. So we need to reframe our viewpoint on these scary thoughts. And this is where acceptance comes in. I know I would hate reading, just accept it. Just go with it. It's hard. I'm not saying it's an easy thing to do, but we need to just accept that this is the state we're in right now. It's something we can get out of. We have these thoughts. Holy shit, why did I just think about the meaning of life? I'm here with my parents, like something's wrong with me, I'm not normal. Instead, this is the literally best thing you can do. You can forcefully put thoughts in your brain. Say, I accept the thoughts I'm having right now, but I'm going to do XYZ, whatever you're going to do. Create a mantra for yourself. A mantra is something that we repeat in our brain to try to influence our thought patterns and our belief systems. For me, it was, I'd get this anxious thought, and for a long time I'd be like, what the f***? Why am I thinking this? What is wrong with me? And then I slowly transitioned to a more peaceful, I'm okay, I'm good, I'm safe. Nothing is going to happen to me that's going to put me in that state I once was. I'm good, I'm safe. Thank you, brain, I've got it from here. I am safe. It's okay to relax. Have you ever tried that? Have you ever talked to yourself in a loving rather than aggressive way and told yourself that it's okay to relax? Now, my fear and anxiety didn't just suddenly disappear as soon as I told myself I'm good. There was always this kind of unease. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Unease, nervousness. But I could sense that, and it was good to be occupied. Once we accept, now it's time to distract. But not distract as in run away, but to be in the present moment. Scary, I know. Now it's time to get out of our silly minds, our silly little minds, and into the present moment. Have you ever consciously taken a breath? If not, we're doing it right now. No bullshit. Come on, we're gonna take 3 conscious breaths right now. Breathe in. Feel the air go in and out of your nostrils. Feel your belly expand. Hear the silence or the noise around you, and just accept. It's easier said than done, and being in present for a long time was hard for me. It's weird because it was my thoughts that were bothering me, so I thought being in the present would help, but it was almost as anxious there as it was over here with my thoughts. But it was better, and at some points I would forget that I was even feeling anxious, and there I was in the present moment. And then I'd feel anxious again, but it starts to disappear. Like it'll disappear, and then it'll come back, and then we're being present, and it's gone, and then it's back. But it's a nice break. So what can we do? Anything. You can really do anything. It's nice to do something with the more sensory aspect of it. You're moving your body and you're feeling things, and rather than like certain things are easier than others. Like driving, you could theoretically be really present driving, but it's not as stimulating as, say, like being outside, going for a bike ride, or exercising. Exercise is a big thing because it releases endorphins. And let's say you're going for a run, and like a hard run, like you just have this urge to go for a run, gasping for breath. You're not going to be thinking about the meaning of life or whatever anxious thoughts would bother you. You'd be trying to not to die. That's what you'd be doing. And at least you won't be feeling it. You might have the thoughts, but you notice, like, when you're so occupied, physically especially, there's a feeling in your body that's not anxiety. It's the burning of your muscles. And we can learn to enjoy the burning of our muscles rather than experience the anxiety. Because anxiety is a feeling. When you get the anxious thoughts, it's like these waves of anxiety throughout your body. So let's replace those feelings with something else, the burning of our muscles. So pick something. You can paint, you can cook, you can talk to people, you can just be outside with nature, just get some fresh air. We can go for bike rides, we can swim, we can go for a walk. Anything that can like get you feeling and out of here. Remember the sympathetic nervous system? That's the system that makes us feel anxious and stressed and dissociated. There's actually an opposite of that. It's called the parasympathetic nervous system. That's a system that is called rest and digest. It's the system our body's in what should be most of the time, when there's no threat, and we can relax, and we can feel okay, and we can feel good. We want to spend less time in the sympathetic nervous system and more time in the parasympathetic nervous system. And there's actually ways we can do it. Our bodies are aligned to be in the parasympathetic nervous system. We're only supposed to be feeling stressed and anxious when there's a reason to be stressed or anxious, when there's a lion, or we have to swim and fight for our life from something, or if we're being attacked by another person. Our bodies are designed to be relaxed, resting and digesting. We just have to align all the factors we can to enter the parasympathetic nervous system. What are these factors? I call these the big six. I see there being 6 fundamental things that everyone needs to live a happy life. But again, I'm 17, so I don't really know shit. This is just, again, my personal research and ideas. And these are, we give ourselves not 6 to 7 hours of sleep, but we give ourselves 8 to 10 hours of sleep. We eat a healthy diet. We exercise. We go outside in the sun. We talk to people we care about and love. And we have one kind of mindfulness, present moment practice. These are the basic things, and we kind of used to do this all the time until we didn't have to anymore, when we could be comfortable and we didn't have to go outside and exercise at all or eat healthy, because junk food tricks our brain into thinking we're having a 5-course meal when we're just eating carbs. So we don't have to do those things anymore, and it's no wonder why we're so anxious and depressed. So let's go back to the basics. Let's create an environment in our body and our mind that is ideal. It's the ideal environment to recover. Sleep, personally, for me, was really important. When I didn't get enough, I would have this level of anxiety if I slept good, but if I just didn't sleep good, it would just be like up here. And that's not like a big amount, but it was there. And if I did get good sleep, at least I couldn't blame my bad sleep for my anxiety. And sleep is important. We all know. We've been told that our whole life, but not many of us actually make it a priority. In school and work get in the way. I have to wake up at 7 a.m. every day, which means if I wanted 9 hours in bed, I'd have to go to sleep at 10. I get out of school at 3. It's not necessarily easy, and I know that. But we have to at least make a conscious effort to try to give ourselves 9 hours in bed, because our bodies and minds just work better. You know how much better it feels when you're waking up from a long, deep sleep rather than a short, shallow one. Number 2 is we gotta not eat shit food. And just like how you know sleep is extremely necessary and important, you know what's unhealthy and what's not. If the ingredient label looks like a science experiment and it's extremely processed, we should stray away from now. Because, don't quote me on this, but one of the most important things for how our mind feels is our gut and the things we feed our body. And the gut and the mind are just so closely related. If you went a whole day just eating healthy versus eating shit, I guarantee the difference would just be astounding. Just how better we feel when we're not eating the stuff that our bodies were really not designed to handle. For me, my shit was hot Cheetos and anything salty. I could not stay away from it. But I just had to think the benefit of not having this anxiety was more important to me than the kind of pleasure I would get from eating hot Cheetos. And it's not easy. You know, the stuff's made to be addicting, so it's not just a cakewalk, you know, no pun intended. And now that I'm more recovered and I have less anxiety, I actually can eat some shit if I wanted to. Obviously not an overwhelming amount, and I try to be healthy. Now that I'm better, I can treat myself in a way that used to make me feel anxious, and I think that's amazing. We gotta get some sunlight on our skin, or at least we need to be outside in the fresh air. It's so much easier to feel crazy when we're in a cold, fluorescent, light-lit room than this natural lighting that's just so much nicer on the eyes, and I have this vitamin D that just we were made to be outside, and we're not designed to be in these rooms that have no natural sunlight. It's just not. You could try walking or biking to school. For me, driving was hard. I felt so disconnected from everything, and it was easy to get stuck in my head. And I started biking to school and to the gym. I got out of my head, and I was outside, and I saw people having fun, and I realized life doesn't have to be so bad. It really is a big difference, and if it's safe to do so, try thinking about taking some other form of transportation to getting to the place you want to go. And again, back to exercise, one of the 6 fundamental things. And being outside activates the parasympathetic nervous system, unless we're being chased by a boar. We should go outside and be outside in the way that humans and animals were meant to be, not inside in a cold fluorescent room. We have to talk to people. Humans are social creatures. We need some kind of interaction, face to face. It's just how we work, and we need to give hugs to people, and we need to smile at strangers and say hi to people, even if you don't think they're real, because they're real, I promise you. We have to interact with people, and we have to open our heart up to the idea that we need to get back in the world and interact with people again, and reconnect with people that you might have lost, or form new friendships. Because it's fundamental. It's extremely fundamental. When the lockdowns happened, one of the main causes of everyone's depression and anxiety was we couldn't see our friends. We have to think about how much better would we feel if we were out living life rather than being alone, anxious, and feeling crazy. If you're talking to someone and you get these, are they real or they look wrong? I don't know if you know what I mean when I say that, but if they look wrong, it goes back to accepting. We have to accept that we're having these thoughts and then fake it till we make it. Smile and listen to what that person's saying, and try to be a good human and try to be a good listener. Be there and listen. And every time you get one of those anxious thoughts, just put all your focus back into the conversation. We just need someone, and it can also be me. I offer paid one-to-one video calls if you just need someone to talk to, or you need someone to have dinner with, because I never wanted to do any of that stuff alone. We can work on our own problems concerning this anxiety, DPDR, and we can work through it together, because I want you to feel as good as I feel now and as free as I do. It's time to exercise. Again, back to our old ancestral life. We used to move around for probably 12 hours of the day. What do we do now? We sit for 9 hours of the day at our job or at school. Humans were not designed for these conditions. And exercise makes us feel good. It activates the parasympathetic nervous system, and you can do anything. It does not have to be some strenuous. I used a running analogy earlier, but it doesn't have to be something as crazy intense as that. It can be walking, light swimming, it can be biking, it can be light yoga, weightlifting, martial arts, anything that's moving your body and using muscles is going to have some kind of benefit on your body and your mental health. It releases endorphins, and it's something that we used to do all the time, but we're not doing anymore. Kind of get excited in a way. Think I can use this as a chance to try something new. And there's so many sports and activities we can pick from. It can be an exciting journey of trying things out, seeing if you like it, and then what happens when you find something that you truly love and you start doing that every day, and now you have something that you can obsess over rather than obsessing about existential thoughts that we'll never have the answers to. For me, it was weightlifting. I became obsessed in a healthy way about my bench number and my deadlifts and what I was doing and getting excited every day, and I started thinking less about stuff that I did not have the answer to and more about my love for the gym. There's so many planes outside. I know you never realize it until you're trying to record and you realize, how's this going to sound? Yeah, there's so many planes. A quick note on a mindfulness practice. This can actually be the hardest one. And I don't necessarily outright say do yoga or meditate, because that's not a one-size-fits-all solution. If you can do that, that's one of the best things we can do, because that helps us accept, that helps us distance ourselves from our anxious thoughts and realize we don't have to be scared of them. But I couldn't do yoga or meditate because I would be alone with my thoughts, and that was fucking scary. So it's not a blanket solution for everyone. That's why I recommend more being outside, doing things with our senses where we don't have to be one-on-one with our thoughts, because it gets scary. And I can meditate and do yoga now, so again, it's possible to get better. We just need to do something that gets us out of our mind and gets us up and moving and in the real world, drawing, painting, singing, anything. Take this as an exciting opportunity to find something new. Again, find something that we can obsess over. If you have never tried yoga or meditating, there's thousands of tutorials online. Guided is great because then it's a set time and you have someone else there with you, so it's not really just you and your thoughts. If you've tried and you can't, don't get discouraged, because I couldn't either. I would always see the recommendation of do yoga and meditate, and I wanted to, but I just couldn't, and it sucked. We have to do a mindfulness practice, and that can be literally anything. So the big six are made to create the best environment in our body and our mind to recover. They're the kind of fundamental things that we need, that we can check off on a daily basis and see, did we do these? And that creates space for our body and our minds to heal. Sleep, eating a good diet, sunlight, social interaction, and a mindfulness practice. Those are what make up a basis of a healthy life. Again, I'm 17, I have no fucking clue what I know, but this is what works for me, and I feel better when I do these things. And I'm not perfect either. I don't always get 9 hours in bed. I don't always eat good. We need, again, to do at the very least, make a conscious effort to try to do good, to try to do better, to try to care about our bodies and our minds enough to want to take care of them in the first place. Remember that progress isn't linear. You might have your first anxiety-free day like I did, and trust me, it's amazing. After that anxiety-free day, you might have 4 days after that where you're worse than you've ever felt. But then you have 2 days where you're good and 3 days where it's bad. And progress isn't a straight line up. It's more of a... Don't get discouraged if you're suddenly had a lot of bad days in a row, but then you're starting to feel better, just, it's a process. It's not a straight line. So far, we've decided to accept our thoughts, accept the feelings that come with those thoughts, find a mindfulness practice, activate our parasympathetic nervous system, and trying to incorporate the big six throughout our day. Now that we've created this space in our bodies and our minds to heal, we need to cut out what's bringing us down. Specifically, it's usually substances. We've already talked about bad food, but there's caffeine. If you have anxiety, just try to not drink any coffee. Nicotine, weed, any kind of drugs, obviously don't do those, because we are very sensitive in this state. The slightest thing could make us feel anxious, and we need to just, again, create this environment where nothing can really get at us. Sugar and alcohol, those are another thing. Try to limit your added sugar. Caffeine and nicotine actually activate the sympathetic nervous system, the system that makes us in fight or flight mode, that makes us anxious. So one of our main goals is activating the parasympathetic nervous system. That's not an argument to cut out coffee and nicotine. Another thing is being on our phones and our laptops and the TV too much. It's artificial light and it's this moving image that's not in nature, so naturally it's not going to make us feel great. So we need to try to reduce our screen time. I noticed personally when I was on my phone and my laptop for an hour straight, just getting out of it just felt like disoriented. It was just not good. So we want to reduce our overall screen time, and we can fill that extra time that we have with our mindfulness practice or just not being on a screen, because we feel better when we're not. Off me. So what else is there to do? Now it's time to give time. Time should heal you a lot on its own. We can accelerate the process and kind of make sure it's gone for good if we're making our lives better in the process. Time really is kind of the last piece of the puzzle. If you're doing those things that I've talked about, you will have your first anxiety-free day. I know you will. And when it happens, it's such a freeing feeling. It's like you can do anything. Yeah, I really am getting better. I never thought it was possible. I always thought I'd be this crazy person, but now I'm feeling better, and it's very freeing. I want you to feel that way. You deserve it. It will be your chance to get normal. From now on, you'll be, progress isn't linear, but your slope will be more positive than negative. Thank you, brain. I've got it from here. Another note on sleep is we want to activate our parasympathetic nervous system before we sleep. Sleep is that one time where you do have to sit with your thoughts, and it was not easy for me to sleep some nights. What helped was I got into a yoga practice, finally being able to do it, guided, and that helps me get into the mind space to sleep. Because we need to let the thoughts rush in and be able to accept them and occupy ourselves rather than waiting for sleep to happen and then we're stuck and we can't sleep now. And once you start doing a mindfulness practice before you sleep, you're training your brain to see sleep or your mindfulness practice as a chance to relax. Bedtime is not a time to be anxious, but a time to relax and recover and sleep. And this is why we do an activity that activates our parasympathetic nervous system before we sleep. So this is the last video you'll ever watch about DPDR. Your situation is different than mine, and what's worked for me might not work for you, but why the hell not try? I've helped my friend, same age as me, that goes through the same thing. It's actually surprisingly common. The people that have this, you might feel so alone that no one gets you, but I get you, and there might be someone that's not too far from you that also understands what you're going through. Again, I'm just some 17-year-old chump that wants to help. And one thing before the video ends is the question of why does it matter? I can't tell you, but I'd rather go through life not being anxious, even if I don't know why I'm here or why I'm doing any of this. There's something making noise. I'd rather go through life not being anxious, so that's why we try to get better in the first place. If we're given the option of going through life anxious, scared, confused, or going through life positively living, frolicking, and being okay, why would we ever choose this one? We have the option, so let's work towards getting this one, even if there is no point. Even if it doesn't matter, why not choose to feel okay rather than feeling not okay? For the hope of a better tomorrow, it's time to take action. I can't wait for you to feel better, and please, in the comment section, please talk about what's helped you get better personally, and if I didn't mention something, or if I said something that wasn't true, or if I'm talking bullshit, because we need to have this discussion about what we can actually help, how we can actually help people, because some people don't know. So this was your last video. I offer paid one-to-one video coaching calls where we can eat dinner together, we can have a discussion, or we can talk about life, or talk about how I got better and how we can help you get better. Or if you just need anyone that can talk to you, because I will never ever judge you. I will never sit there and think this guy's crazy, because I know exactly what you've gone through. It's gorgeous. So I'm home now, my camera died. I just want to say that I wish you the best of luck, and if you need someone to talk to, links in the description, and if you don't want to pay, I have Discord. If you just want someone to talk to that will understand what you're going through and won't judge you, then I'll also have that in the description. Thank you, brain. I've got it from here. Try that mantra and just see how it goes. Bye now.